Hello, y'all. Today is Sunday, February 7th, 2021 at 1:17 a.m. Um, so I'm surprised I was able to get me some sleep and go to sleep early. I was so tired, I couldn't even resist it. And I went to bed at like a little after 8:45 p.m. and I had like an intense dream and um it's like I've been going to bed at around, falling asleep more like at 2 between 1:30 and 4 a.m. for so long that me actually falling asleep and going to bed at 9 o'clock at night, which is what I've been trying to desire, to go to bed more like 10 or 11. Now I woke up and everything just seems kind of odd, or everything feels funny. But I would like to be back to going to bed at like in between 9 and 12 at night rather than 2, 3, and 4 o'clock in the morning. So it seems kind of odd. I mean, it feels the same kind of weird that when I take a nap in the afternoon around 3, 4, or 5 o'clock, and then wake up at 7 or 8 at night, and then I end up feeling kind of odd and weird, and this strange kind of depressed feeling, like mentally and emotionally depressed feeling for whatever reason. Um, but due to sleep deprivation, a lot of times I couldn't even take naps for many years, and but being here mainly in December and some of January, I think I was, found myself taking some afternoon naps and stuff like that. And it seemed, pretty helpful with trying to get me back, feeling better rested from the sleep deprivation and stuff like that. So I'm glad that I was able to get me some sleep close to 9 o'clock at night. And then, after I get off here, I'm hoping I can get me some more sleep or go back to sleep rather than being up all night. So that was like, approximately 4 hours of sleep that I got. And the night before, let's see, yeah, I think I more like didn't get to fall asleep again at 4 o'clock, and I mean up until 4 o'clock in the morning, and then went to sleep and then woke up at 10:30. And I don't like that schedule. I preferred my preferred schedule when I had my own place. My preferred schedule was to go to bed at 10 p.m. and then wake up at about 7 or 8, and then eat breakfast, and then you know probably do some research or something, then go to like around no later than like no later than 2 p.m. to have my lunch eaten, and then have dinner. Well, 7:30 was my preferred time to have dinner, and then go take a shower at about 8. But the idea that I didn't I had to change my schedule to eat earlier because of bad GERD and acid reflux. And some people say that it's not to do with your diet. Some people say it is, a lot of it is, but I heard that sometimes it also part of the directed energy weapons and the targeting and then poisoning you and keeping you sleep deprived and stuff like that. And it wasn't until 2017, it was my first time experiencing me feeling food in my stomach. Usually you can't really feel food in your stomach, but I actually will feel leftover food sitting in my stomach. And come to find out, it was called gastroparesis and delayed stomach emptying. That's got to be one of the most miserable feelings ever. And then in 2017, I was battling really hard with the sleep deprivation. It was like a vicious cycle. So, um, I mean, I wasn't like, it's like I wasn't even, I struggled financially for many years and wasn't even, didn't feel the need to have to ask or beg for any money. And I just made it through on my own. But being on, like, me, if my income was $753 a month back in like 2017 or 18, somewhere around there, um, being on Section 8 financially, it did help. But I had to deal with so many degenerate people, so many degenerate people, and made it difficult and undesirable. And I figured, well, just because I'm on low income and disabled does not mean that I don't deserve to live, in peace and quiet in my life. That I have to be surrounded by just, people acting like uncivilized animals. When zoo animals act more civilized than them. But I didn't realize it was part of the gang stalking and the perping and stuff like that. And I just could not get any peace or any rest in my own home. And then apartment landlords trapping me in they lied and said that they were gonna let me out of my lease, and then sneak behind my back and make the decision to keep me in the lease. And that was like traumatizing. Then like later on when I confronted them, it's like people be nice and make a supportive decision to help me out with something, and then like they don't even tell me that, oh, I switched my mind, but they just all of a sudden out of nowhere switch their mind and then make things very torturous for me. Like that Debbie Thompson lady from the Section 8 office in Gretna, Louisiana. She even she was more like not my Section 8 worker, but I don't remember what role she played at the Section 8 office, but she you know what she did was and the landlady lied and said that they were gonna let me out of my lease because of severe me fearing for my life and community harassment in the neighborhood, neighborhood mobbing and stuff like that. They ran me out of that neighborhood. And so I mean me being forced, and I was forced against my will to endure that torture and torment for another 6 months. And the perping got even worse and more unbearable. And calling the police, y'all know how it is. But I even hated doing that. But they try to make me out to be the only crazy one who was complaining and having problems. And but other neighbors complained, but they did it amongst themselves. They didn't take action to report anything, because even other neighbors were wondering why there was so much chaos and noise and everything in the neighborhood, but they stayed kind of quiet about it and didn't want to do anything about it. Or they didn't want to help me out with, if they had a problem with the noise too. And they were like, well, if the neighbors across the street, if their guests are parking by your house, you need to call the police. They're trespassing on your property and stuff like that. And then or the same thing with the neighbors next door. And so then if they're having loud parties and blaring loud music all day, every day. And so, the Debbie Thompson lady, she even lied and said that they were gonna helped me get out of my lease. And then when I finally went to the office, it was a different story. And then she like started to gaslight me and get very abusive and act like a not like a narcissistic abuser. And then told me that I'm gonna wind up getting hurt and that I deserve to get hurt by knocking on the neighbor's door at 2 o'clock in the morning for blasting their music or the TV super loud. But the thing is, I might usually have a job interview the next morning. Of course, I don't go and tell the neighbors, but what a coincidence that it's the night before a job interview or my first day at work. And here they go, wait till 2 o'clock in the morning and blare loud TV. And then they have guests over, other druggies over, because that was the crackhead neighbors. And then the crackhead neighbors, I had to deal with the freaking the third of the month or the first of the month, I had to hear trafficking in and out like 2, 3, and 4 o'clock in the morning. And I hear loud noise in the trafficking in and out, and the walls were paper thin. I was able to smell the neighbor's cigarettes and weed and everything like that coming into my apartment and everything. It was just unbearable. And me being suffering severe and like chronic sleep deprivation, and already like headaches that make me feel like I'm gonna die. And then they don't care. They blasting their music so loud and having parties and doing whatever other craziness and stuff like that. But overall, in a place like this, I mean, if I pay up to a certain time, I can check out if things were to get too unbearable. But then they might have one or two other places I've heard of, but I heard that they're junkier and dirtier, and it's just very nasty from the reviews that I've heard. But this is one of the best places like this, more like this, the most decent and cleanest of them all. But the other ones I haven't been to, but at least I'm not locked in a lease. But the thing is, for me to stay here for a month with the deposit, without the deposit, it's more like, I say about $1,050 a month. So $1,050 a month, like $1,050 a month. But I'm like, wow, I could get me an apartment with that, with $500. But the thing is, landlords reject me with the $500 a month apartments or trailers and stuff. They reject me because I already said they want 3.5 times your rent. So they want me to make at least $1,750 a month. And if it weren't for my sleep deprivation, I can be doing DoorDash or cab driving, or something like that. I could be doing DoorDash or cab driving. So, but then again, I heard that would be difficult because if you're a targeted individual, they would do stuff like turn off your app before you start the work and then lock your phone or freeze your phone or do something crazy, and on purpose to block you from working. And so, I've seen a couple of videos where targeted individuals discuss the idea of don't let the perps stop you from trying to get a job and work and stuff like that. So it's like I found an avenue. I mean, I don't have that many skills and abilities, even though I have a bachelor's degree. But, that's from me being blacklisted and sitting at the house all day and me trying to look for jobs. And I've, been persistent for years and, just nobody want to hire me. And then 11 years passed, and then it's like I got some explaining to do of why I haven't worked in so long just by having a college degree. And then people telling me you got to start from the bottom and stuff like that. So that was humiliating and degrading. But then I, try to get my foot in the door with this and that temp service jobs and, severe workplace mobbing. And some people say that, you end up, I heard that some people, end up being like, I was already a targeted individual, but I heard some people end up being targeted individuals and gang stalk if dealing with the temp service company. And then I heard that temp service jobs make it hard and set you up to not be like, I heard it's quite the contrary, that they set you up to not be able to work. While they lie and say that temp service job, that you can get your foot in the door and get something permanent. But um, if you're set up to, I mean, I heard that they want to, workplace mob you on purpose so that you can't even last. I mean, even with permanent jobs. And it's like, why is it every job in 2017 and 18 and even 2019, I'm like, why is every job considered either seasonal or um temporary, like temp service or a seasonal position, and I can never get something permanent? And then when I finally did get something permanent, and I mean, it ended up, me not even lasting, 6 weeks at the job. And in 2019, me trying to work, they kept me so sleep deprived and hit me with the electronic weapon so bad that I ended up in the emergency room 4 times in 6 weeks. And I thought I was going to die. And then that fake TI perp, Olga Lemkin, kept on, trying to bully her and harass me on the phone and kept on telling me that I'm gonna die soon and stuff like that. And I'm like, you claim to be Christian, and you telling people, oh, you're gonna die soon, and she'll try to tell me you should quit your job. And it's like, but I still want to stick with the job and stay persistent with working and stuff like that. But I didn't quit because of her. But I quit because they had me in the doggone emergency room 4 times, plus dealing with severe workplace mobbing and bullying. I couldn't take it no more. But then she'll put in all caps, get off the streets, and make it like very embarrassing, like her comments on my YouTube channels. Like, how the hell you try to make me quit my job, but then telling me get off the streets? I mean, for me to continue working, that would help me get off the streets. But when I was working at the YMCA, I was this close. If they would have gave me full-time job work at YMCA, if they would have given me 40 hours, it would take the 40 hours a week plus my income that I was already getting. That would have been enough for me to finally get my own place. But just when I started to get like financially comfortable, boom, time, it's just wow. But I was traumatized. I mean, I thought that me being a cab driver could keep me financially afloat, and that maybe I can be staying in cheaper motels and hotels, something similar to this, and stay afloat, and not, I mean, just live somewhere without having to sign apartment leases, because I was, I mean, being frustrated and upset that being frustrated and upset and traumatized about them keeping me locked in a lease. And then said, well, you signed a legally binding document, and kept repeatedly throwing that in my face. And so I'm like, well, fine, I don't want to sign any more apartment leases or, a legally binding document or anything like that. And I found another website due to targeting, and I'm going to post the link in the description box, another link that I found about targeting. And I think, yeah, it's called ininet.org or something like that. And they had a few pages, interesting information about gang stalking and being a targeted individual and everything like that. I mean, some of y'all might know this information, but it might be new to some of y'all who don't know. But this targeted life is really insane. And then other targeted individuals, some of them can work and some of them are not allowed to work. I'm wondering, I heard it depends on your program or your programming. And then some targeted individuals, they're allowed to be housed and have a car, but they get targeted so heavily. But then other targeted individuals end up, being forced to be homeless and blocked from working, not having a car or job or whatever. But the ones, I mean, I don't know, but I saw a scary targeted individual video of a lady who was always, she said she's always getting gang stalked by tow trucks, and it traumatized and scared me in a way. It made me almost not, made me say, no thanks, I'm good, I don't want to drive. I don't want to drive. If she said that a tow truck tried to run her off the road, and she was screaming for her life, and it was kind of like an 18-wheeler size, but more like for tow truck. Well, she said it was a tow truck, but it didn't look like a tow truck, but it was one of those trucks with those long beds or whatever. But when the truck got close to her, she was hollering and screaming and fearing for her life. And then the perps had froze her camera, her phone camera, and everything like that. So it's like, how the hell are you supposed to ignore if you're driving and then the perps trying to run you off the road? Like, I mean, I know my own personal experience when I rented a car and I was trying to drive carefully in the Blue Ridge Mountains, and everybody wanted to speed, and they purposely try to manipulate and maneuver. I didn't know it was part of the gang stalking, but they try to manipulate and maneuver, trying to set me up to you know they try to get me to fall off a cliff. Like, y'all very fucked up. Y'all very fucked up for doing that. But thank God, I didn't fall off a cliff. And but it's like they try to set you up and manipulate you to being destroyed and stuff like that. And it's like, some people like, just ignore them and go on by your life. I mean, you gotta stay on guard. And then people want to try to blame everything on artificial intelligence. It is not artificial intelligence. People doing this because they freaking want to. Or then they'll be like, well, artificial intelligence or AI will make you gang stalk or perp somebody, and you perping them, you're mind controlled into perping them, and you don't even realize that you're perping them. And I'm like, no, come on now. No, I know I don't perp nobody. So it's like, and I damn sure don't get compensated for, anything either, but the fact that, they want to try to, the fake TI perps just passing on intentional wrong information in order to make it like the target individual is the problem. And they just spread around a whole bunch of false information, blaming everything on artificial intelligence and stuff like that. I've heard stories about, I believe that's true about once a person takes a perp deal, and they say the same thing about celebrities, that if you become a celebrity and then they kill you off and clone you, and then you're no longer the same, and that's why you walk around with reptilian slits in your eyes and stuff like that. And or like if you're cloned, or if you're actually cloned and stuff like that. So, and I heard that, some targeted individuals, they suspect that their family members are cloned, or they might suspect that they themselves are cloned. But I'm like, wow, I'm not sure if I believe all that, but it's like, it took it was very difficult for me to come to terms with believing that cloning is real, and, all this scary stuff. Like, so, I'm hoping I can go back to sleep and, keep at it with trying to go to sleep at night rather than so late. And I mean, rather than in the morning, with my sleep schedule and everything. And I don't want to be on here too much longer because they're going to warn me. The video is going to warn me anyway. But before I go, I found this app where I can talk to people. You can anonymously, talk out your problems, you know, but it seemed like a lot of people were responding to me and wanting to talk to me and stuff. So I hope that would be a great community. If you're that anonymous that nobody knows who you are, but except they had one guy acting like a narcissistic perp, and I had to block him. So I'll see y'all later. All right, love y'all. Bye.